Good evening, everyone. Happy Monday, June 1st. Here we are. How's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? Shout out to the folks in the chat. Make sure you all hit the like button, hit that subscribe. If you are new, I would greatly appreciate it. I got my man, DaAceAvenue, in the building. Make sure you guys all go subscribe to his channel. He's doing an excellent job over there. Doing live streams, doing other shows like series reviews and stuff like that. So he's almost at that 3,000 number. So let's get him to that 3,000 subscriber number, man. Like let's make that happen for my man Ace. But he, like I said, he does a phenomenal job over there. So his channel is doing really, really well. But Ace, my man, what is going on? How's life? Talk to us.
What's good, man? Life is good, man. Glad to be here. Glad to have the twins back on because people say we like brothers and everything. Hold on, let me put my hat backwards so we look just like brothers. So
yeah, there you go.
Now they can't tell us apart who's who, that type of stuff. But yeah, man, glad to be back, man. Last time we streamed was on my channel. Always a pleasure when you threw out the bat signal. I gotta respond. I appreciate you, man, and we're here to have a good conversation. Everybody, make sure you guys hit that like button to the strike zone. Come on, sub up. You'll be at 3K before you know it too.
Yeah, we're slowly climbing up there, man. I'm trying to catch up to you, but hey, I'm in no competition, bro. We're gonna get there. We're both gonna get there. But. It doesn't matter when, we're going to both get there. And real quick, I did put in the comments Ace's YouTube channel. So please go subscribe to my man Ace. Go give him the support that you all give me. I mean, I would greatly appreciate it. I know he will appreciate it as well. But Ace, man, the Yankees, how it goes, watching these games, calling these games. We're big fans of this team, like many people are, like many fans are. The month of May, I'll call it a mixed bag. I mean, there was a lot of ups and downs with this team. They ended the month with a 16-12 record. They're still in second place. They're trailing the Rays by a game and a half. I mean, there was a game that they didn't play against the Rays because it was postponed. But record-wise, I would say pretty good. It's over 500. I feel like the record could have been a lot better. Mm-hmm. Yes, in some of those games, they beat themselves. They essentially beat themselves, but they also lost some series, right? Like the Brewers series, they got swept, but the Brewers they're a legit team. They're a good team, so it's not like they lost to a bad team. And, there was some other games that I feel like they should have won, but it was just, they were just dead. You know what I mean? Like they just nowhere to be seen. So it almost seemed like, this team was asleep. And I know fans like to panic, especially right now, their fans always like to panic, but we're June 1st. We're over a third into the season. We're not even halfway through yet.
Still got 100 games left.
What was that?
Still got 100 games left.
Yeah, still got 100 games left. I mean, there's still a lot of baseball to be played. The Yankees are going to go through you have to be ready for stuff like this, in my opinion. Like you got to be ready for this team to be slumping. They're going to slump again at some point. And it's funny that I say that because we're in June and we kind of talked about it, but let me get your thoughts, man. I mean, what are your thoughts on the month of May? How did you feel about this team? And we'll later on in the stream we'll talk about the month of June and see what we're thinking. And folks in the chat, drop your comments. What are your thoughts on the Yankees as far as the month of May goes? Let's talk about it.
Got you. And the Rays are losing right now 2-0 to the Tigers, so they're helping us out. So
let's go.
If they lose that game, we'll be a game back. So but when it comes to the New York Yankees in the month of May, this offseason, I always like to take a peek at the schedule just to see what happens and who we're going against and when. And there were 2 months that kind of jumped out at me that I thought the Yankees would have the most difficulty. It's May and August. Those 2 months when I looked at the schedule, mostly because of the middle of the month, it gave me cause for concern because we played a very difficult stretch on top of teams that normally get up to play us. So I was interested to see how the Yankees would respond. Would this team be any different from last year? Because we know ultimately how last year finished, where we tied for the division. And because we didn't win the head-to-head tiebreaker against the Blue Jays, we ended up falling short. Could that have changed the whole trajectory of the playoffs? It could have, but we'll never ultimately know at the end of the day. So this year's Yankees team has said that they were, operating more urgently, and it felt like they were operating differently. And with the moves that they made, it made it feel like it. And I know they took a little offense to the word urgency, but a lot of us really felt like that. And with some of the remarks that Aaron Judge and company came out with earlier in the season, where they're like, "Look, we're really trying to finish games," so this team is not taking it for granted. But I knew the month of May and August would be difficult, and then especially if this team hit the June swoon, I thought this team would initially be in some trouble, but the month started off great, no doubt, because going against the Orioles with a 4-game sweep, we went ahead and took care of business against them. Took 2 out of 3 against the Rangers, which is great. But then this was the stretch that I was most concerned about. Hitting the road versus the Brewers. The Brewers, very underrated pitching staff. They went out there, they swept us. 2 walk-offs in that series. In this stretch, we've lost 5 one-run games where a hit here, a bounce there, something like that could change the tide, and those could be in the Yankees' favor. But going against the Brewers, then you combat that by losing the series to the Orioles, who you just 4 games swept. Then you're going against the Mets. Big series for us fans. Yankees will try to downplay it as much as they can, but us as Yankee fans, we take that series seriously, and the Mets got up for that. They beat us there. We ended up splitting with the Blue Jays, and the Rays series, we're going against a hot Rays team who is number 1 right now. Luckily, I thought the tide turned on the Yankee season when we got that rain out, because if you look at how things were going with the direction this team was going after that crazy stretch of the Brewers, Orioles, Mets, and Blue Jays, losing the first game on Friday, the Yankees, if the weekend would have ended not in our favor, we could have been sitting at almost 7.5, 8 games out of the division. But luckily, we had that rain out. As soon as we got that rain out, I texted the group chat, shout out to Uptown Sports and everything. I texted the group chat, and I was like, this might work out in our favor because we're not playing a good brand of baseball right now. Normally, towards the end of the year, the Yankees' MO is we do play a better brand of baseball at the end of the year. I'm glad that it's stacked up at the end, because that might give us an opportunity to either gain ground or push forward, push past them, and seal the division, because we play them the second to last series of the year. Then from that point on, the Yankees have gotten hot, winning 5 of the last 6 games. I think that rain out saved us in multiple ways than one, because it mostly gave us, a time to just breathe. And because we haven't had a real day off during that gauntlet we just went through. Because let's face it, there was a gauntlet that we just went through. And the Yankees didn't really rise to the occasion, got some good home cooking on the road versus the Royals, and they handled their business versus the A's. But yeah, this was a very grueling month. It was a very battle-tested month for the Yankees, and, they ended up coming out over 500.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough month. It was a tough month. And you brought up, real quick, you did bring up the month of August. And I actually did take a look. The month of August, I would agree that that's going to be a tough stretch of games, right? I mean, we won't get into August, but looking at the month of August, we're talking Cubs, Cardinals, Braves, Mariners, Blue Jays, Orioles, the Blue Jays
on the road. Both of those on the road.
Yeah, and we played the Blue Jays twice that month.
Mm-hmm.
After that, it's the Astros. Then they close it out with the Red Sox. They played the Angels on the 31st, but that'll go into September. So yeah, I mean, I think there might be a chance that in August they might hit another tough stretch there. They got some tough games, but. Look, the month of May, like I said, it was a mixed bag. I think the Yankees, there was games where they shined, like yesterday's game where they put up 13 innings or 13 runs in 1 inning, which I thought was insane. I was like, you got to be kidding me. And none of those runs were home runs. It was all base hits, and that's how they scored all their runs. So, this team, to me, I think they are operating a little differently. I think there's things that they still absolutely need to fix, especially with the bats, but the bats aren't as bad as some fans are making them out to be. Because I was looking at some of the statistics, right? When you like, for example, the on base percentage, right now they're fifth in the league for what on base percentage. Slugging, they're second. OPS, they're second. Batting average, they are 13th in batting average. And there's other teams that have a higher batting average than the Yankees do. However, those teams are also, they're not in first or second place, right? They're not. You look at teams that are ahead of them right now. The A's have a higher batting average. The Red Sox have a higher batting average. The Giants have a higher batting average. The Nationals, the Rockies, the Diamondbacks, like these teams have higher batting averages, but they're not anywhere near, first or second place. The Yankees are in first and second place. So offensively, they are doing things good. There's a few hiccups in the lineup, i.e. Austin Wells. He's been my biggest frustration in the lineup, more so than Trent Grisham, more so than Ryan McMahon. But he's probably been the biggest problem. But one thing that's been really consistent with the Yankees has been their starting pitching. The starting pitching has just been phenomenal for the New York Yankees. I got to give it up to Cam Schlittler. I mean, Schlittler is just he's something. You know what I mean? He's something. I remember hearing a lot about him in the minors and folks talking about him. And I like what I'm seeing from Cam Schlittler. And I do have to mention Ryan Weathers respectfully, because Ryan Weathers, there was a lot of doubt from fans when this team traded for him. The Yankees, a lot of fans were just like, man, they gave up 4 prospects for this guy. And, I know he's been injury prone while playing for the Marlins, but I felt good about it. And I think Ryan Weathers so far has delivered. I know he struggled a little bit in the beginning of the season, but then, he's shown improvement. Ultimately, I still think he's a guy that does go back to the bullpen once Max Fried is back. But the starting pitching for the Yankees has been, again, phenomenal. And overall, their pitching for their ERA, they're at 3.20. So, that they're fourth in the league, which is excellent. And Schlittler's ERA right now, I was talking about Cam Schlittler. His ERA right now is at 1.50. This guy's putting up, he's putting up some numbers. He's putting up numbers like Paul Skeens type numbers. He's almost as good as Paul Skeens, maybe better, I would say. But even with some of the struggles in the month of May, I mean, the Yankees, I still think are in a good spot. Overall, I say that with confidence, because now they're kind of they're utilizing everybody. They're trying to utilize everybody. They're not going out. They're not putting out the same lineup every single day. The same guys are not playing every single day. It's like, if somebody's not playing well, okay, cool. Well, next man up. So they have more depth. They're much deeper, more options. So, despite some of the struggles, despite some of the slumps that they're going to go through, I still, in my humble opinion, I still say they're in a much better spot than, where they were a year ago. What do you think?
Yeah. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe too, guys. Having a great conversation. Let us know what you think down in the comment section as well.
Absolutely.
This team, every team is going to have ups and downs. Let's just put it like that. With how weak the AL is this year, there's no doubt in my mind that the New York Yankees will make the playoffs. It's when they start playing bad, right? When they're playing a bad brand of baseball, like we saw during that middle stretch where, the bats aren't coming through a runners in scoring position, or the bullpen, which is a problem. Those are issues that us as Yankee fans know that could rear its ugly head in the postseason, ultimately send us home. You mentioned Ryan Weathers. Weathers had a good year. As of also honorable mention to Will Warren. I will also throw Will Warren in that conversation, because those two guys so far, I think I said this, have been some of my MVPs because think of where this team would be and how different this rotation would be right now if those two guys didn't come out and shove every fifth day. And they're going out there getting the ball, giving us significant outings, and they're having good years. Ryan Weathers, as of late, I do feel like is starting to slow it down a little bit. Did have a good outing when we needed him most against Toronto, but the two outings in between that, he's given up 5 runs apiece. I do feel like I'm worried. I'm a little more worried about Ryan Weathers than I am about Will Warren, only because Ryan Weathers isn't used to throwing this amount of innings. But you know what they say. You don't know what you can do until you actually do it. So we actually have to see. But ultimately, when Fried comes back, I think it could solve multiple problems because it could also bolster up our bullpen with you throwing Weathers back there, a guy that I'm bringing up, a guy that I'm really high on, and Giovanni Cruz, bringing up another guy that I think should be the future closer of this team, and Carlos DeGrange. And I think when it comes to the bullpen, the Yankees can fix some of those problems internally. And I would like them to fix it sooner rather than later. So that way, let these guys come up in the month of June and July. So that way, you know, if they're good enough to take us past the deadline, because if not, then we have to acquire people. But yeah, the Yankees had a up and down type May. It was just a difficult stretch where it is a very trying stretch where offensively there were certain, like I said, 5 games where we lost with 1 run, where the offense just couldn't really muster anything. Hitting runners in scoring position. You and I both call the games where it just seems like a lot of times Yankees can't get the big hit. They hope the big hit is going to be a home run, but we can't get the big hit. Unlike what we did yesterday, or was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday's game where we had 13 runs in 1 inning. I think we scored double-digit runs before getting 1 out, and we didn't rely on a home run. I wish this team was more like that. They do have it in them. They're capable of doing it because I look at bats like Cody Bellinger. I look at bats like Jose Caballero. I look at bats like Paul Goldschmidt. Those 3 to me are 3 best contact hitters in this lineup. And when they come up there and they get hot, this team can take off. Aaron Judge as well. Ben Rice has been one of our best players, if not the best player on the team. Ben Rice should be getting a lot more MVP recognition than he's getting right now. This guy's been absolutely killing it. And offensively, he has been our best bat. I say the offense goes as he goes. When it comes to him, I've been very pleasantly surprised with Ben Rice because, like, he is absolutely killing it. And he seems to be the engine that really does spark this team. And it stinks that earlier in the year, the Yankees were kind of platooning him, and now he's making it hard to just say, you know what, I'm that guy. 306 on the year, 17 home runs, which is tied for the team lead, 2.2 WAR, a 1056 OPS. This guy's absolutely killing it. I fear to think where the Yankees would be if it wasn't for contributions like Will Warren, Ryan Weathers, and Ben Rice.
And I think those are the surprise names when you think about it, right? Because there wasn't, going into the season, there wasn't a whole lot of faith. I think there was some faith with Ben Rice. Rice because I think there was confidence in Ben Rice. But there wasn't a lot of faith with guys like Will Warren and Ryan Weathers. There was like none whatsoever. Let's be honest here. But, you know, you talk about Ben Rice, man, which congratulations to Ben Rice. He was named AL Player of the Week, for those of you that didn't know. And there was some other stat that they put out there in 6 games, right? Check this out. He led the majors in hits, was tied for first in RBIs, tied for first in the American League. Runs scored, tied for first in the American League, and extra base hits with 7, first in the American League. Tied for second in total bases, which was 23, tied for second in the American League. And then ranked 3rd in times on base with 16. He was 2nd in the AL. In those 6 games, 462 batting average, an on-base percentage of 533, a slugging of 885. I mean, you know, the numbers speak for themselves, man. But, you know, aside from when you look at the whole picture besides the 6 games, yeah, Rice has been delivering. Rice is doing what Judge would do, right? I know Judge has been on a little bit of a slump lately. I know a lot of fans are concerned about it. This isn't the first slump that we've seen from the captain, but the other thing that I wanted to say about the bats, I mean, you brought up Ben Rice, you brought up Caballero, Bellinger. You know, there was that saying of like when Judge is playing bad, the rest of the team is playing bad. When Judge gets going, the team gets going. Right now, Judge is he's in a funk, the other guys in the lineup are picking up the slack. So, this isn't like, years prior when it comes to the offense where it's like when Judge goes, then the team's going to go. But when Judge slumps, the team is going to slump. No, there's other guys that are trying to pick up that are helping, right?
Mm-hmm.
Judge can't, one player can't do it by themselves. It's a team effort. One player does help big time. Their contribution's huge, but it's also going to require some support from the rest of the lineup. And I think Rice is obviously the biggest contributor. I think he's been the hottest bat, and he's definitely the hottest bat in the lineup. But exactly, the Twins are back.
You missed the joke. We already said that, Jacob. We said it earlier.
Yeah,
catch up.
Catch up, Jacob. You're too late. But there's other guys like Ben Rice that are contributing. Right, Caballero has been phenomenal. Bellinger's been great. I mean, shoot, even guys like Paul Goldschmidt, when he's been playing, he's been contributing to the team. Ahmed Rosario, right? I mean, these guys are all contributors, right? They're not just relying on Judge. We're not just relying on Judge. So that's another difference that I see in this Yankees offense. And then real quick, you brought up Ryan Weathers. So, in his career, he's pitched the most he's ever pitched was 86 and 2/3 innings. He's at 64 innings right now. Mm-hmm. So, he's had injuries before. So, he's never been stretched out what a normal starter would stretch out to in a regular season. So I think that's why I was saying, you got to put him in the bullpen. You got to save his arm. You don't want another Nestor Cortez in your situation where, that's what happened to Nestor Cortez when he was a Yankee. Right. So, you want to avoid that with Weathers. Yeah. Weathers he's been kind of slowing down just a tad bit, but, he's reaching his career high innings limit. So, you got to definitely preserve that arm.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to Ryan Weathers, like I said, you've never done something until you've actually done something. So maybe this is an opportunity for him, but I do think he's more valuable in the pen. But also, I mean, I forgot the stat they put up the other day, but Ryan Weathers, out of everybody in our rotation, has gotten the least amount of run support too. So it's like, and yet he's still gone out there and absolutely dealt. He's 2-3 with the record, but 3.52 ERA, which is good. 11 games started. Like I said, he's been a solid addition between him and Will Warren. Like this team, when it comes to, like you said, a lot of people think this team goes as Aaron Judge goes, but there are other guys that have stepped up, and that's what you need as far as when it comes to baseball, because when one or two players can carry you for a week, 1 or 2 or 3 players can carry you for a week in baseball. You don't want everybody to get hot at the same time, because that means they all get cold at the same time. And other guys have stepped up while Judge has struggled, but Aaron Judge is struggling by his standards. He's not struggling by like league standards, because he's still one of the league leads in home runs. Average is solid, but it's just, we just expect Aaron Judge to be otherworldly. And a lot of people ask me, they're like, do you think this is the start of the decline for Aaron Judge? And I'm like, I don't think so. I think he's just going through a struggle. I think I would give it like another 2 to 3 years before I even start thinking about that. But it's really on the New York Yankees to have to put the pieces around him. And I feel like with guys like Ben Rice, Cody Bellinger, Goldie, Jazz has turned around as of late. The month of May was very good for Jazz. Guys like Jose Caballero, I feel like this team does have the pieces in play, but then as always, they're going to hit slumps where the world is on fire, where people are over them. That happens everywhere, but it's at a higher level because we are the New York Yankees at the end of the day. And when you go out there and you lose games to teams you're not supposed to, or you can't beat teams over 500, then that becomes a story. Oh, Yankees are 1-something versus teams over 500. I throw that stat out the window and tell people they can shove that up their ass, because at the end of the day, it's like, you're telling me guys that like the Guardians and the Mariners aren't going to be over 500 at the end of the year when we beat them, and we're part of the reason they're under 500. Like, it's a stupid stat.
It is a stupid stat because of the fact that, you know what, you got to beat the bad teams. Those games are gonna count too. So if beating the bad teams doesn't count, then the record should be much different for every team, that good team than Like, yeah, I don't really care for that stat. I think that's a silly stat. Um, you know, and my thing with Will Warren, I was going to say real quick. I mean, 7-1 record, 3.22 ERA. Warren's he's looking a lot more confident out there. I think he's starting to believe in himself a little bit more. Because we got to remember last year with Will Warren, he wasn't expected to be in the rotation. He got his opportunity because the rotation was hurt. 3/5 of the starting rotation was out with injuries. But Warren had to step in, and Warren, yeah, maybe he didn't have the greatest of seasons last year, but he's shown that he is durable. And this season, for being a number 4, number 5 guy, I mean, you can't really complain about a 7-1 record when it comes to Will Warren. And I think he could easily, at the very best, I think he could be a number 3 guy in the rotation. So I like what I'm seeing from Will Warren. And when I talk about other guys picking up the slack, you talk about Jazz Chisholm Jr. Batting average right now, he's batting 239, OPS 699, on base percentage 314, but last 15 games, he's batting 330, batting average of 339, on base percentage of 403. He's got a slugging of 554. So last 15, I mean, he's been turning it up, Jazz Chisholm Jr. And I know a lot of people are not going to like this name that I bring up, but
is it Volpe?
It's not Anthony Volpe. No, it's Trent Grisham.
It's Trent Grisham. No.
It is Trent Grisham. Yeah. So I know it is Trent Grisham, but last 15 games, he's been turning it around. I know his batting average is not anything to get excited about. I understand 207. I'm not getting excited about that. But when you look at the last 15 games, he's batting 283, slugging of 396, on base percentage of 377. What I'm saying is at least he's trending in the right direction, right? And hopefully that batting average can go up even a little higher. If he could get it up to about 230, I think that would be a good one. That would be a good batting average for Grisham. So he's trending in the right direction. And I don't want this guy leading off. Like, I think
that's the problem.
That is the problem. I have my opinion on who I think should be leading off in this lineup, but Grisham should be batting 7th, like 6th or 7th. I think he does better down there, man. I think he does a lot better down there instead of leading off. But that's just me. As far as who I think should lead off, I think it should be Caballero. I think he should be the guy leading off because he can hit for contact. He can hit a home run if he's able to. But if he gets on base, he could create havoc on the base paths. I think he's your perfect leadoff guy. Yeah, but
I like the tools. Oh, my fault. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying that's just me. That's just my opinion.
I like the tools of Jason Dominguez to lead off. Honestly, Jazz Chisholm has tools to lead off, but I'm not saying I would lead off Jazz. Jason Dominguez would be my guy I would lead off. But Trent Grisham gives you so much more production from the middle of the order because when he's up at the leadoff spot, he's just trying to draw walks. Like, that's great to get on base. You're just trying to draw walks. But the reason they brought him back was because he hit 35 bombs last year. Allow the guy to swing the bat. I believe he's only got maybe 1 or 2 home runs from the leadoff spot. His other ones have come when he's in the middle of the order. I just think that's when he's most productive, when he's down there. Like, Trent Grisham is what it is. I didn't want to bring him back for a multitude of reasons. One, because I thought the price tag was too expensive, and because I didn't want to block guys like Jason Dominguez and Spencer Jones coming up. But he's here, and I just don't want this guy leading off at the end of the day because, like, you're getting the most at bats. You're getting some of the most at bats on the team, and the production that you're giving for those amount of at bats isn't worth it. He's not your typical leadoff guy. I would rather him just be in the 6th or 7th hole and just go from there.
Yeah, I like I said, I like Grisham batting in the middle of the order. I think he would be a lot more productive there. And the bottom of the order needs a little production. So, I think adding him there would improve the lineup. And yeah, I like Trent Grisham. I just don't like him leading off. Like, that's just that's when it comes to Grisham. And I understand, folks not wanting him back. I mean, initially I was just like, man, I don't know, right? $22 million. I'm not going to stress the 22 million because there's players out there that are making a hell of a lot more money than him, and they're not putting up the production that they should be putting up. Just saying. But Grisham though, like I said, he's been trending in the right direction. Hopefully that does continue. But I think, yeah, he needs to be he needs to be down there like in sixth or seventh hole. But when we talk about the month of May, man, like which series? Let's start with the bad. Which series absolutely frustrated you or just pissed you off? Any specific games, series? I mean, talk to me, man.
I'm not trying to give them any ammunition, but that Mets series pissed me off because, like, especially that last game, Austin Wells was atrocious. That last game, especially with his call behind the plate, like you got David Bednar up there, you're trying to close the game out, and you blow it. Like the Yankees, it seems like sometimes they don't take the Mets as serious. Obviously, they don't take the Mets as seriously. The Mets take the Yankees because I remember a couple years ago where we had J.D. Davis in the cleanup spot for the New York Yankees. I remember that. That was a couple of years ago. And it seems like the Yankees sometimes just don't take certain games seriously. The fans care about this more than they do. And that Mets series, definitely that last game, May 17th, where we lost via the walk-off, really pissed me off because let's rewind to that last inning where you have 2 on, 2 outs, 1 strike, 1 out away. And the first pitch Austin Wells calls for from David Bednar is a curveball, a hanging curveball when that's his worst pitch. Like, where's the game plan when it comes to that? And then, like, it was just in the middle. It was frustrating because you went against the Brewers team. The Brewers team is a solid team. They have really good pitching. Mizorowski might end up messing around and winning the Cy Young for the NL League. They got a solid, feisty team. Then you go against the Orioles on the road, a division rival. I understand we just got them 4 in a row. They're going to want to get some get back. It happens. But then you going against the Mets, and the Mets are one of the worst teams in the league, and you let them take that series from you. It's frustrating. Then you go against Toronto, and it's hard for me to judge them against Toronto because how we split. We won the first 2 games, and then the offense went anemic in the last 2 games, only scoring 1 run in 2 games. So it's just like, what is this Yankees team? Who are they? What is their real identity? Every team is streaky, but it seems like this Yankees team throughout the course of the season has had high highs and very low lows. And going into the month of May, I said it. I was like, this month is going to be brutal, not because of the first 2 series, but you're going to look at that middle of the road, and we did not play well during that middle of the road series. So I would say the Mets series was the most frustrating, and that one pissed me off. The best one, though, would probably be right after the postponed rain delay with Aaron Judge and a 2-run home run in the final game against the Rays, because that game, if the season turns around and let's say this team continues to spark, we won 5 of the last 6 games, right? Or 6 of the last 7 games, right? If the season turns around and we end up winning a championship, I'm going to look back at that game right after the rain delay where it was 0-0 going a ugly rainy day going into that 9th inning, and Aaron Judge comes up with one of the biggest hits of the season. That would be like one of those moments where you put that on the DVD. You really do, because like, think about it. Ryan Weathers was out there. The weather was bad, but he was good. We're going against Rasmussen, who's a really good pitcher. Since I think 2021, he's been one of the best pitchers in the league. And to go against the rival Rays and Aaron Judge hitting that walk-off energized us and kind of sent them in the opposite direction for us to be able to catch up. Because since then, we've been playing better, and they haven't. We gained so much ground since that game. So I would say that's my worst favorite. I mean, that's my worst moment of the month and best moment of the month. What about you?
The best, dude. It's hard to argue with that game where Aaron Judge hit the game-winning home run. It's hard to argue against that, because I feel like when the Yankees won that game against the Rays in the bottom of the 9th, Judge hitting that 2-run home run, I feel like it sparked a fire. And I feel like that was I feel like I was like, all right, you know what? That game that they just won, they won it against the division rival. It's I think I was like, I think this team's gonna come alive now. I think this team's gonna come alive because all it takes is that one big moment. And that was that one big moment. So am I saying that they're going to have a lot of, game-winning home runs or game, in the bottom of the ninth? No, but if can they, it'll be cool for them to, it'll be good for them if they can win games coming back in the bottom of the ninth. They almost made that happen on Saturday night against the A's when they walked 3 straight back-to-back batters and they scored.
They were giving that to us though, and they didn't want to take it. That's what it comes down to. Yeah.
I know. That game was fantastic against the Rays. And look, I don't care how bad or how good the teams in the AL East are. It's always just going to be a pain playing against those teams because they always make it hard. They're always going to make it difficult. I don't care if it's the Orioles, Blue Jays, Rays. Like it's always going to be tough. And shout out to my man Max. What's up, Max? My man Max is in the building. Max has been killing it with the live stream. So what up, Max?
What up?
I know we got quite a few people. Max, Susan, Ken, Jonathan. I see you all. Stephen B. I see you all. TC was in here earlier. So Beagle. I see all of you. I know I haven't said what's up to everybody, but I see everybody in the chat. Yeah.
But like you were saying, as far as division games are tough, no doubt. But 4 division series in the month of May. That's why I said this May series was going to be tough. Yeah. And then you mix in the Mets, who they're like a crosstown rival. Then you mix in the Brewers, who are a good team. This was a tough stretch, including 2 4-game sets in this month. It was the month of May. Like I said, I continue to say this. When I looked at the schedule, I said May and August were going to be tough. And if the Yankees tend to June swoon, it could get ugly. But they made it out of May with a above 500 record. Hopefully that Aaron Judge home run on this not last Sunday, the Sunday before that has sparked this team. Because like I said, they've won 6 of the last 7, and you got to keep the momentum going as we're heading into June, where, like we talked about backstage, you're going against Cleveland. Cleveland's kind of up and down. Boston, you need to sweep Boston. They're not good. They'll get up for the Yankees, but they're not good. Then you got to then you're hitting the road against the Guardians and the Blue Jays, and Blue Jays at home have always given us fits. No doubt. So this team can't swoon right now.
Not now. Not now. I mean, look, I'm prepared. Like I said, every single year, no matter what year it is, I'm ready for this team to have their super highs, and I'm ready for them to have their super lows. I mean, it's just the ebbs and flows of baseball. Teams are gonna, they're gonna have that ride that hot streak. And there's going to be times where they're going to be slumping, and it's almost like they forgot how to play the game, because you never know what's going to happen in baseball. And when you get towards the end of the season, there's always some surprise team that comes from out of nowhere, and they make it to the postseason, right? So but when it comes to the Yankees, the one thing that's consistent, and maybe it's not satisfactory for a lot of fans, is that the Yankees are always in the conversation of this team is going to be competitive. They're going to play well. They're going to make it to the postseason. What they do in the postseason is a question mark, but they're always in the conversation for it, though. That's the thing with the Yankees, right? I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what year it is, what team they have. They're always in the conversation as far as what are they going to look like this year? Are they going to make it to the postseason? Are they going to be in the World Series? Are they a World Series team? So they're always in that conversation. So I like I said, every single year I prepare for this type of stuff, because it's just no team is gonna. Yankees are not going to go 162-0. Just give that up. And this team is they're gonna lose 60 or more games. It's as simple as that. Every team's going to, right? So you got to, again, you have to accept that. That's just something you got to accept. And go ahead.
No, I was about to say, everybody loses 60, wins 60. It's those other 40 that really decide. Ultimately, There's those 42 to decide. Also, another reason why that May 24th game was really good. It was a really good win because if we lose that game, you could probably kiss the series record goodbye against them. And we knew how much that, kicked our ass last year against the Blue Jays. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to continue to lose games to a team that's in front of you. So it was good that we were able to beat this team because that ended up making the record our 1 to their 4. You don't want to go 0-5 to start, then you're not going to win a division series. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
No, I
makes it a lot tougher.
I'm picking up what you're saying. Definitely.
Yeah. So.
You don't want to lose a series to a team.
A season series, yeah.
Yeah, because
it bit us last year. We lost the season series to the Blue Jays, and ultimately we tied them, but we had to be one game better. So you want to go out there and try to win all the season series. Now we, when it comes to the A's, we split the season series with the A's, but I don't expect us to have to tie them for home field advantage. I don't think they'll get that far. But against the Rays, who seem like a serious threat this year, you want to be able to keep the good vibes going, and we're going to be going against them 8 more times. So,
yeah, and I was going to say too, the game that really pissed me off, that final Mets game, that was stupid. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, that was my pick too.
That was ridiculous. And then the other game that really annoyed the hell out of me too was honestly, the game where they lost 2-0 in the final game of the series against the Blue Jays. Mm-hmm. That royally pissed me off because it was like, that was a complete bullpen game from the Blue Jays. Mm-hmm. And their bullpen sadly did a good job against the Yankees bats, and the Yankees bats just were dead. And when I remember calling that game, and I'm just like, this is just, I want to end this live stream early, man. Like this is frustrating. It's one thing to lose a game in extra innings, and that like they did in that final game against the Mets, but then it's another thing when you can't even score a run. And again, I know it's going to happen. But it's just, man, it's like, come on, guys, like, you got to be better than this. But sometimes if the game is not on your side, it's not on your side. It's just completely out of your control. That one annoyed me, man. That one just absolutely pissed me off too. Yeah. When they lost 2-0 to the Blue Jays in that final game, and they split the series, and I was like, this sucks. But
it's just because of how it looked. Like, because if you would have took, it's hard for me to determine how we're gonna be versus the Blue Jays when you split the series. Like, you go out there, you win 7-6, 5-4. Okay, you won 2 one-run games. Those are close. Those are great. Then you lose a 1-run game, then you lose a 2-0 game. That was really close. So you lost 2 close games. It could have went either way. You could sit here on the positive note and say, you know what? We could have swept this team. We played better. Sure. But you could also look at a negative note and say, we could have also got swept if a couple of things went their way. So it's really hard to determine how we are against them this year. This is why I'm looking forward to the June 12th, 13th, and 14th. When we hit the road, we got to take 2 out of 3 versus them on the road. That'll be a real measuring stick for them, because if they got confidence against us, they really do, especially since last year. Now, if they've been dealing with a lot of injuries, but they get right, they could still be a thorn in our ass, because technically they're not out of it. Like a lot of teams, and we got to take advantage of a weak AL, but there's only a couple of teams that are actually over 500, a handful of teams. Us, why did it go to 2025? Hold on.
You're looking at the standing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, all right. So us, the Rays, the Guardians, the White Sox, and the Mariners. Those are the only teams that are over 500 in the AL. You got to take advantage of a weak AL. And then, like, to me, it's World Series or bust for this team. They'll make the playoffs, but you got to make the World Series off this, because you are the best team in the AL. They are.
I truly believe that. I went in with a lot of confidence with the 2026 Yankees. I did. Mm-hmm. My biggest question mark and going into the season was definitely the bullpen.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
The bullpen was my biggest question mark, because there was a lot of new guys. Yes, I know some of these guys were acquired at the deadline, but they were still new. So, it's not like they had any time to, adjust to how the Yankees do things, right? So, but, they had a whole off season. They had spring training. But the bullpen, it's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag. It's like some games, it's like, okay, they look great. Other games, it's like, what is going on? So, I do get a little nervous for the bullpen, but I believe it or not, I'm not saying this bullpen is great, but I'm a little bit more comfortable with this bullpen than where the bullpen was last year. Because the bullpen last year, I was more of a nervous wreck, to be honest with you. And I'm glad there's some guys that are not in that bullpen right now. So that is definitely one area that the Yankees absolutely need to fix at the deadline. They have internal options. You brought up Giovanni Cruz. You brought up Lagrange. I think those two guys need to be called up. Lagrange is going to get called up. I think that's inevitable. I think the Yankees are going to call him up. It's just a matter of when. I would say probably after the All-Star break, if I had to guess, or when they expand the roster. But I think Giovanni Cruz is another guy that they need to call up. And then you add Weathers to that, and then at the deadline, if you could add one or two arms to that bullpen, I think you'll be seeing a much better bullpen than what we're seeing right now. And then the catcher position. I think Cashman's going to do something. I don't know what he's going to do, but I think he's going to look into definitely upgrading the catcher position, because the catcher position is that's a major concern, bigger concern for me at least than the bullpen. Bullpen is a concern, but the catcher position is a bigger concern. Yeah. I mean, Walls is doing well behind the plate, like defensively. I like what he's doing. Offensively,
nothing.
God,
yeah. It's a hole, man. It really is. And like you said, bullpen, I'm never really overly concerned about the bullpen, because I know that at the deadline, the Yankees will always make a couple of moves to try to fix it. Will they work? It is yet to be seen, because we thought this bullpen was fixed last year at the deadline. These guys this year aren't panning out. Bird, Duvall, Bednar, they all have had their bumps in the road and times where we wanted to hit them with the ejectocito. But it's like other guys, I think the bullpen can be fixed internally first. I would give it a shot before trying to seek outside help and then maybe bringing in one or two guys. But it's just about what are they doing with the pen, because you got two long relief guys in the pen, and Ryan Yarbrough and Paul Blackburn. Ryan Yarbrough is barely seeing time. He's barely seeing time. Then you got guys that like a Brett Hedrick and a Tim Hill who are being severely overused. Hedrick's arm is going to fall off. Tim Hill is hitting the wall. In the last 7 games, he's pitching a 16.62 ERA. He is hitting the wall because he is severely overused. You got to start bringing up some of these young guys. Bird stinks. That experiment's out he shouldn't pitch, and that's the problem. We need more high leverage guys, which is why you need to go ahead and call up Cruz. He pitched well in a high leverage situation. Call up Carlos Lagrange, who, if you look at the advanced stats from Lagrange, his first 2 innings, first couple of guys seeing guys, lights out. His first time seeing it, I believe he's pitching to like a 2-something. Second time seeing him, he's pitching under 1. It's the third time and beyond where he's kind of getting hit. That to me screams bullpen. You might just have to bite the bullet and put him in that closer role. I think he's our future closer, because if you look at all the high leverage closers, they all top over 100. He can hit 103. You need that type of guy in the pen. You need that type of swing and miss. And I think that could be fixed. When it comes to the catcher spot, I do think the Yankees need to be very aggressive in the catching market. I'm not even sitting here screaming for just a right-handed catcher at this point. I'm looking for a catcher with a pulse, because it'll be better than what we currently have in Escara and Austin Wells. Now, there are options out there. You want to go out there and get Langoliers? That's going to cost you. You want to go out there and get Ruiz from Gilberto Ruiz from the Nationals? That might not cost you as much. You want to get Goodman from the Rockies? Possibly. So I definitely plan on doing a before the trade deadline, if the move isn't made, I plan on doing my top 5 catchers that I would acquire. But anything's got to be better than what we got with Austin Wells, because defensively he's ranked high, but offensively he is a black hole. And the same thing with JC Escara. And I don't want I've been hitting. I've been seeing what Twitter is talking about as far as JC talking about switching over to the right side, bro. I don't want that. Like, if you're bad from the left side and that's your predominant side, do you really want to experiment and try to have him hit from the right side? I think I'm good, man. Like, we need another catcher. Rushman is another one. Like Susan said, I like Rushman. Defensively, he's not great, but I do like Adley Rushman being a switch hitting catcher. Him and Ruiz, both switch hitters. But yeah, we gotta upgrade the catcher position sooner rather than later.
Yeah, the one guy that I like for the catcher position too is Dylan Dingler from the Tigers.
Mm-hmm.
But he's probably going to cost you though. So all
Dingler,
those guys. What was that?
Dingler, Jeffers. They're going to cost you. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Those, especially with the catching market, we're not the only teams that need catchers, so it's going to cost you. And then there is going to be a Yankee tax on top of that. So it's not like we got guys in the farm system. I would love to bring back a Luis Torrens. Torrens isn't great with the bat, but he's better than Austin Wells.
No disagreement for me. But
it's tough.
Torrens would be good. But yeah, my guy, the realistically for me, I was looking at the catcher position, and I like Dylan Dingler. Especially when the Yankees were playing against him, I was just like, this guy's good. I like Dylan Dingler. Rushman would be great, but like you said, his defense. Jeffers, I mean, he's hurt, so you might want to tread slowly on that. I mean, I like Jeffers, don't get me wrong, but just the whole injury thing scares me.
Vasquez could be available too. But Vasquez from the Astros, but he's 35. That's not gonna, that's a short-term option. That's a short-term fix.
Yeah, no doubt. Now the catcher position we talked about, do you think the Yankees should look into third base?
No, only because I think our third base option could be George Lombard Jr. I've been saying this. I think Ryan McMahon and George Lombard Jr. are going to be tied at the hip. When Lombard Jr. is ready, I think they'll ultimately give him third base. And lately George Lombard Jr. has gotten off the slow starts every level he's been at. It happens because it's an adjustment period. He's gotten off to a slow start, but lately he's been hitting a lot better. And the glove translates to the MLB level. The glove is MLB ready. It's just about, can he turn it around offensively? I know everybody's going to say, go out there and get your third base. You can't fix every single problem. You can't plug holes in every single problem. You can't fix the bullpen, catcher, center field, and third base all in one trade deadline. So I think internally, this is why we have a minor league system. So that way you can kind of fix guys like that. But yeah, I would say George Lombard Jr. Max said Luis Torrens signed an extension, but I would still bring him back. I mean, unlikely the Mets would do it, but if they continue to bottom out, if you make a good enough offer, maybe he comes back. I personally would, because I don't think we should have gotten rid of Torrens. We got rid of Torrens for cash consideration. Like, we didn't even get anything like significant back. So
yeah, and when it comes to third base, honestly, like, the Yankees have options internally. I mean, besides Lombard Jr., they do have Ahmed Rosario, obviously, he could play third, not a problem. Jose Caballero can swing, can play third, but I'd rather see Jose Caballero play short. I want him at shortstop, period. Right? I want him at shortstop because
you're not back on the Volpe train.
No. I even when they brought him up, I was just like, no, shortstop still belongs to Cabby. End of story. I don't want to hear it. Like, I understand Volpe's up there right now. Yes, he'll get his playing time.
He's been playing well as of late, though.
As of late, we'll and as long as he could be a guy. He could be a guy, Volpe, that's a utility guy, plays different position. When I say plays different positions, I'm talking shortstop and second base.
Yeah, that's not much of a utility guy. That's just you play up the middle.
Yeah, a couple. What I'm saying is you could play him a couple of positions, but I want to keep Caballero at short. And, at least we know he could play third base. There is that option. Ahmed Rosario can fill in. So, it's not like they're totally stuck with Ryan McMahon, So at least they got – at least now it's like they're not forced to play the guy. We saw Ryan McMahon struggle early on in the season, and Boone didn't waste any time. He was like, all right, Ahmed, you go in now. It's your turn. Show us what you got. So, I know Max is saying he's digging the hole Jose and Volpe on the left side of the infield. It's been nice, but I still prefer Cabby at shortstop, man.
Cabby's the better shortstop.
What was that?
Cabby's the better shortstop. Period. He's got the better arm. He's got the range. Like Volpe hasn't been bad. He hasn't been bad. Outside of that first error that he made, he's been playing solid. But there were a couple plays here or there where like a little bobble here or there, but you still got an out for, but it didn't get a double play. He hasn't been bad, no doubt, but I just don't think he's good enough to warrant Caballero losing his job because Jose earned it. But in the same breath, I do think that Caballero is the type of player that will do whatever the Yankees need to win. If they say play third base, he'll go to play third base. If they say, yo, we need you to pitch, he'll go out there and pitch because he seems like he's a player's guy. He's a locker room guy, that foxhole guy that's like, you know what? I'm going to do whatever it takes for the team to win. Look at the other day, played left field, made a great play in left field. Played a little bit of third base, didn't really have like anything too crazy of a play, kind of had some routine plays, but he's got the better arm. He's the better shortstop. Ultimately, I think if Volpe can end up playing second base, I think that might be the position for him because I don't think they're bringing Jazz back next year. I don't think Jazz is coming back. And if you get Anthony Volpe, who doesn't have a great arm, that might be – he's got decent range. He doesn't have a great arm. Second base might be what he's tailor-made for, to be honest with you. And maybe you bring up – maybe we see a future infield of Lombard Jr., Caballero on the left side, and then Volpe at second base. Maybe that's the future Yankee infield. Ben Rice at first. I wouldn't be opposed to it.
I wouldn't be opposed to that either. And the other thing I was going to say with Caballero is that he's one of the best players when it comes to defensive runs saved. Yep. You don't move a guy out of that position when he's performing so well. You know what I mean? Like you just don't do that. So that's why I want Caballero at shortstop. And yeah, Volpe could be your future second baseman. And I am there with you. Since the offseason, I'm like, there's not a world I see where the Yankees bring Jazz back. I like Jazz. I like his energy, but but the business side of me comes in and says, I don't think the Yankees are going to spend the kind of money that he's probably going to look for. I think the Yankees are going to stick with Volpe. I could see them go, sticking with Volpe at second base. And then they got some other guys in the minors that are Kilby. Yeah. He's ranked number 4, number 3. Yeah. He's moved up in the ranks fairly quick. So Yankees have a ton of internal options.
If he can stay healthy, he's gonna be a stud. His hit tool is otherworldly. I hope the Yankees don't mess around because there are talks that they might mess around and possibly try him out in the outfield. Like keep him on the infield. Defensively, Lombard Jr. is the better defender, but Kilby's got the better hit tool, no doubt. You also got a guy like Caden Kent that's coming up. Kent is starting to get a lot of attention. So they have those valuable infield options where they don't have to bring back a Jazz. Do you want to tie Jazz up long term and have him make high 20s, maybe low 30s million a year? I personally wouldn't when you have other viable options, to be honest with you. And then it's a guy that, he said it. He said it and he showed us. I can't hit in the cold. Do you want to? What happens in October? Are we playing under a dome? Is it going to be warm? Like, is Mother Nature going to gift us some warm weather in October? No. So it's like, we'll see what happens. But I like Jazz. I do like Jazz. I think he's a phenomenal talent, but I don't think he'll take whatever contract the Yankees will offer him because I think he's going to think all it takes is one team to outbid him. And with the lockout looming, if it happens the way they're talking about where teams have to spend, you might get one of these lower teams that might offer Jazz $30-something million. If I'm the Yankees, I'm not doing that shit.
Nope.
I'm not.
Nah.
So
nope.
30 million?
Yeah, peace.
Yep.
Better, good luck to you. We love you, but yeah, nah, man. You could find that money from another team. Real quick, Desiree, shout out to you. I'm sorry for your dog, and it looks like
definitely. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry for your loss. That's a tough one, and you're having surgery tomorrow. Well, I
good
hope
luck
everything. Yeah, good luck. I hope everything goes well. Everybody send your positive vibes, your prayers for Desiree. Hopefully everything goes smooth with the surgery, and Jazz. Honestly, I don't. even in the offseason, I was like, there's no world where I see this guy coming back unless he completely impresses you. Then sure,
or takes a discount or the QO. I would have to see what the QO is off the top of my head. I don't know what it is. I don't have numbers in front of me. What the QO for a second baseman would be, but I would be more inclined if it's like within like the low $20 million range for a second baseman, like because I don't think he's going to take it. I don't think he's going to take it. If you offer Jazz a QO, he's not going to take that.
I mean, never say never, but you never. I mean,
but then if he comes back for $20-something million, that's a steal for him, for a player his caliber. So I think it's a win. Unlike with Trent Grisham, I think it's a steal. I
mean, if you bring him back on a QO, and for that kind of, whatever the QO is going to be, it's probably going to be like 20. It was 20-something million. I don't know what that number is going to be.
Glaber got 22 last year. I don't know if it's the same this year coming up. Yeah. I'm not sure if it's the same because Grisham got 22. Glaber's was 22. I'm not sure if it's the same next year. But if you're talking about $22 million for Jazz, I think that's worth it for 1 year. For him?
For 1 year, sure. But I'm not giving him a long-term contract.
No, but that's the beauty of the QO because he came out and thinks he's going to make $40 million. With the lockout, teams are going to have to spend if they decide on these new terms or whatever. I'm assuming it'll probably be a floor more than the cap that some of these teams are going to have to spend. All it takes is one team to say, you know what, $25 million, Jazz, that's more than $22 million than the Yankees get a pick. But I think Jazz is worth $22 million a year. I'm not paying him any more than that.
No, absolutely not, man. Again, we'll see how things play out, right? With Jazz, we'll see how things play out with the Yankees. But the Yankees are, for the first time in a while, in my opinion, I think they're in a very unique situation. They're in a very unique position when you think about it, especially what they have going on right now. What they have going on in their minor leagues. I have not been this excited for their prospects in a long time. The Yankees have a great group of guys. They're giving guys chances to play. They're giving, they gave Beck a chance to play. They gave Elmer Rodriguez a chance. Spencer Jones, they obviously Dominguez got to play for a little bit. Unfortunately with Dominguez, my goodness, the freaking injuries and never goes away with Dominguez. Sadly, man, and I feel so bad for Dominguez.
He should be back sooner rather than later, though.
Yeah, but he'll be back. Stanton's going to be back, so Stanton's going to ultimately he's going to get his position back.
Nah, we just DFA him.
Absolutely DFA.
We trade Giancarlo Stanton. We do that,
But I know you got to probably get going here pretty soon, bro. But looking at the month of June, I know we talked about the teams that the Yankees are going to play. Which team or teams make you nervous?
That Blue Jays in the middle of the month because you're on the road in Toronto. I don't know what it was last year, but that was one of the Yankees' biggest bugaboo. We could not beat them when they were home. So the fact that this is right smack dead in the middle of the month, you are going to have 1 day off in between. So you kind of got to just get rested, restart the bullpen. And that's going to be a key stretch because it's going to start immediately too against we play the Central very well and we're going against them 2 out of 3. So you got to handle your business versus the Guardians. You got to sweep the Red Sox. Don't mess around and lose to the Red Sox. Right. But that series versus the Blue Jays is going to be the biggest test of this month. Then you're going against a really pesky White Sox team. You said you were nervous about the Reds. That's a team that you play right after that. Then you're going against the Tigers, who aren't good. We might be forcing them to sell at that point in time. But then you hit the road to Boston for 4 and then end at home versus the Tigers. So I'm looking at that Blue Jays series as a very pivotal series. I would like to take 2 out of 3 on that weekend series.
If they take 2 out of 3 on the road against Toronto, that's going to be big. Mm-hmm. The Reds make me nervous because last year the Yankees lost a series against the Reds. The Reds just had their way with the Yankees last year. Mm-hmm. And I think the year prior, 2024, I'd have to go back and look, but I think the Reds ended up sweeping the Yankees in that series. I think they ended up sweeping them. So, even last year going into the 2025 season, I'm like, I'm worried about this Red. When the Yankees play the Reds, I'm worried about the Reds because they got a good team, a young talented team with a lot of potential. They have
Hunter
Terry
Green is
Frank.
a stud.
What was that?
Hunter Green is a stud.
He is a stud, and they have Terry Francona as their manager. I always liked Terry
Me too.
Francona. Francona, and it seems like wherever Francona managed, the players love him. The front office loves him. He's a players manager. So having a guy like that, like Terry Francona, he's always gonna be a good motivator for any team that he manages. And yeah, I know they just lost Ellie De La Cruz to an injury that's gonna hurt him. But I'm still gonna watch out for the Reds anyway. But it's just because they're one of those teams that you don't think about, but they could be a pain. Even the Tigers, I know the Tigers are not having a great year, but they've given the Yankees some difficulty over in the past. So I don't take any game lightly. You got to take every game serious. Again, the good teams, the bad teams, you just don't take them as a slouch. You treat every team as if they're going to beat you or they can beat you. It's possible that they can beat you. So don't take any game lightly. But that Blue Jays series, and just as a call it an underdog, I'm going to say the Reds. Those are the two series for me.
Yeah, the Reds are going to be pesky, no doubt. They're always a pesky team because they're you saw what happened last year with the Mets. They are a pesky team. Luckily we're going to avoid Hunter Green because he's going to be sidelined, but still, I think he's still a stud. But yeah, I think they just, with Terry Francona, they're just a team that is going to be pesky, and they could be a dark horse. You never know, man. Especially the NL stacked. And I feel bad for the NL Central because every team is over 500, and they're 2 games over 500 in last place. So it's the Brewers 35 wins, they got 30 wins in last place. So they're kind of all beating up on each other out there. Don't sleep on, like I said, don't sleep on the NL teams, man. Even the Pirates are having to, we'll face them at some point in time this season as well. So I think we face them in July. That July schedule is tough too, man. That July schedule, we go against the Twins. That's cool, home cooking. Then we got a 4-game set versus the Rays. Then we hit Washington before the All-Star break. Then you come back and go against the Dodgers, Pirates. Then you're going against Donnie's Phillies. Then the White Sox, Murakami might be back by then for a 4-game set. Then you end against the Cubs in July. So the Yankees don't have a cakewalk schedule.
No, it's I think overall, just looking at the 2026 schedule, when I looked at it, I was like, this is going to be a tough season. They every month is pretty tough, man. They're it seems like they're back-to-back series. They're just playing some playing against some very competitive teams. So I think it was definitely, some months are a little harder than others, but every month is tough. It's just tough for the Yankees. So just the way the schedule was set up, but that's kind of where we're at. But I'm gonna wrap things up here slowly. Ace, always a pleasure having you jump on, man. I'm glad you were able to jump on and that we could talk some baseball.
Appreciate you, man.
Man. But
I appreciate you for having me.
Yeah, always, man. But anything you want to say, any last words when it comes to the Yankees, or anything you want to tell the chat?
Yeah, we appreciate you guys for watching. Make sure you guys subscribe to my guy NFE. Doing great work out here, so make sure you guys sub up to him. And yeah, man, this Yankees team, I expect this team to make the playoffs. When it comes down to it, in the playoffs, we're gonna see what happens, but we'll be here for it.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, hopefully. Oh, Max Fried not coming back until May 14th.
That's next year. Next year, dude? I hope not.
That better not be May 14th. Did I miss something? Is he having Tommy John, or God forbid? Better not be May 14th. We're way past that there, dude.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see what happens. Obviously, I feel good about the Yankees. They're there's things that they need to fix, but there's other areas where they're performing really well. But let's just hope that they can continue improving throughout the course of the season. And of course, we're gonna, before you know it, the trade deadline will be here. Maybe we could do something with the trade deadline. We could talk a little bit more about it
I'm down.
in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk about it. But folks in the chat, thank you all for being here. Thank you all for hanging out on this Monday night, June 1st. Yankees have an off day, so they'll be back tomorrow at the stadium on a 3-game set against the Guardians. So that should be a pretty fun series. Let's see how that series plays out, and make sure you all subscribe to the DaAceAvenue. Go show support to my guy, please. He's well on his way to 3,000 subs, so let's get him there sooner rather than later. So Ace has been doing a phenomenal job, as always. And I'm going to close things out. Thank you all very much. Have a great night, everybody. Shout out to all of you. Shout out to the DaAceAvenue. And as always, let's go Yankees, and we are out. Peace, guys.